So I'm sitting here in my office thinking to myself, what is it I want to share with everyone today? And that's when I realized I know what it is. We left Pennsylvania, headed for New York, and just in time. There was so much rain. The front two legs of the RV sunk into the ground a little bit. Not bad, like maybe an inch or two. We thought it was going to be worse, but when it dried up, we could see it was just an inch. But we still had to kind of maneuver the RV a little bit in order to get the truck hooked up to it to pull out of there. And we were really grateful that we weren't in the site next to us, because that ended up being like lakefront property for us. That would have been a big mess. But we hit the road, headed to New York, and in New York, I had a great synchronicity that I want to share with you. Now, let me take you back 2 months. I went to Portland, Oregon on a trip, and during that trip, I was working on mindfulness training for myself because my brain tends to just like to go and go and go. I know you totally don't know what I'm talking about, right? But my brain just, sometimes it doesn't shut off. So I'm working on mindfulness training. While I like meditation, I kind of like, other things that are more distracting than empty mind. And my guide came through and said, get a book, get a novel, a fun read, something that you can focus on for your mindfulness training. So went to the local bookstore and looked at that, that front shelf of all the bestsellers, because I hadn't bought a book in forever. And I picked one out that looked interesting, brought it back to the hotel room, read through the first 2 or 3 pages, and I realized, yeah, this is really good for mindfulness training. Because I would read a couple paragraphs and then my mind would go to work, or my mind would start thinking about tasks that I had to do, and I had to bring it back to the story that I was reading. Not that it was a bad story, it's that I really need that mindfulness training. So I did that in the hotel, flew back, got home, got set back up in the RV, and I did it. I put the book in a cabinet and forgot about it. And then I didn't follow through. So 2 months later, here we are in New York, and Terry and I decide we're gonna go rent a fishing boat. We go to a marina, go up to the front desk, 2 young ladies are there, and the one young lady says to me, I really love your name. How do you pronounce it? And I said, oh, well, thank you. You pronounce it Isabeau. And she said, I just got done reading a book. Well, there was a character in that book named Isabeau. And I was like, get out of town. That's not a common name. I would love the name of that book so I could read it. So she gives me the name. It's called A Discovery of Witches. You might have heard of it. And got back to the RV after fishing all day. Didn't catch anything. And went on Amazon, looked the book up, and it looked familiar because it was the book that I bought 2 months ago in Portland, Oregon. So my guides, in essence, were like, here's a great tool. And I said, thank you, and then stopped using it. And 2 months later, they were like, all right, we're gonna have to give her a bigger sign. And they did, and I thought it was a really cool coincidence, synchronicity type event that really, really made me smile. So stay open to signs that your guides give you and welcome them in and ask for more of them. They're very good at it. They're very, very good at it. So yes, I am reading the book now, thoroughly happy with it. And I don't know what's more cool, the synchronicity itself, that the guides lined that up in such a great way, or that there's a character out there with the name Isabeau. Thought that's kind of cool. I think it's spelled different, but that's okay. I love quirky. I love everything quirky. Anything odd and different that puts a smile on my face makes my day. I absolutely love it. So I've been saving some of the quirky things that I've seen along the road to share them with you. Let's jump in with the grossest one first, right? There are these things for in RV camps, not all RV spots, but in some of them, called honey wagons. Sound sweet? It's actually a really nice service. Some campgrounds that you go to, they don't have sewer at your site. They have electric and they have water, but you're not able to at your site dump your black and gray water. You have to hook your whole unit up to your truck, drive it out over to the dump station, dump all of your old dirty water, and then park back into your site again. Some RV campgrounds have done a really great thing, and they offer honey wagon services where they will come over with the honey wagon, they will hook it up to your camper, and they will empty your septic and your gray water so you don't have to drive over to the dump station in the middle of your stay. So it's a really great service. It's really wonderful, but it does make an odd sound, which is kind of But that was new. That was completely new. I didn't know that that existed until we hit the road. And on the road, not only are we realizing every single RV campground is different, but same with the towns. We've gone through some really fancy towns and seen some really fancy cars. We've gone through some questionable areas, and we only knew that they were questionable because, you know, of some of the signage. This was one of my favorite signs. I mean, yes, I think we all know it's illegal to urinate in public. And thank you for letting us know that there's restrooms inside, and the spelling of inside is wrong too. But it was a really kind of fun sign. It made me stop and smile. And then there's towns that you roll through that you see a sign and you just don't know why that sign is there. It's like, all right, that's great information. Thank you. And then there's nature. We've seen waterfalls, so many different animals, armadillos, rams, dolphins, you name it. But we've also come across some really weird bugs. And they're probably not weird to the locals where we saw them, but for us they were very unusual. Two of which I thought were really cool. The flat-backed millipede. This little dude, I don't know, he looked like he dressed up for the day. I love it. Like, he's got his armor on. But the most interesting insect bug, I guess you could say, was a moth that looked just like a hummingbird. It's called the Nessus sphinx. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I had to look it up, but it was really cool. Back here in my office, I'm a digital nomad. I work quite a bit and I'm on Wi-Fi all the time. You know when you are on your computer and you pull down the Wi-Fi accounts that are all within range and you see all the different names? Now, it used to be years back, those were like numbers and you know, half of them were locked. Now they're all locked. But people have learned that they can get creative with those names, and I've seen some really cool ones along the way. My favorite one was Catalina Wine Mixer. For those Step Brother fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. I saw one called Flame On Johnny, and this one made me chuckle. Stay Off It Mobile. You can find humor all over the place when you're RVing. It's everywhere. Even in some of the guides and brochures that the RV campground gives you when you check in, sometimes they can even get witty with the things that they write, and it totally makes my day. We ran across one that had a description that said this: zombies, werewolves, and trolls are strictly barred from the premises. Please notify management if you believe this rule has been violated. Well done, campground, well done. That'll put a smile on your visitors' faces every single time. We were even at a different RV park, and Terry went walking out into the woods on a trail, came across an electric chair in the woods. And it turns out it's a gag electric chair. They use it for Halloween events, but it's kind of odd just randomly walking out in the woods and going, oh, that's interesting. We have even come across some state parks that utilize natural space in the most amazing ways. The Robert H. Treman Park that we went to in Ithaca, New York was outstanding. We are hoping to go back there. They took the basin of a waterfall and turned it into a swimming area that is its boss. It's huge, it's incredible. There's even a diving board, and Terry was more than happy to jump off of that. And sometimes, just sometimes, you'll walk past the windshield of an RV and think, okay, that's cool.